Joining me now with more is Councilwoman Vernikov. She was born in Ukraine and represents a large population of Ukrainian and Russian Americans in Brooklyn neighborhoods that include Brighton Beach and Sheepshead Bay. Councilwoman, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Errol.
Were you surprised by the invasion? I mean, tensions had been building for quite a while, and I know some analysts thought that this was all a bluff by Vladimir Putin.
I'm not at all surprised. First of all, my heart is with the people of Ukraine, with my constituents who have family back in the Ukraine. Look, I grew up in that region. I understand a little bit about Putin and his ambitions, and I was not surprised at all. I know that many of my constituents and their families back in the Ukraine and in Russia, didn't believe that the invasion was going to happen. But then some of them, looking back at what happened in Crimea in 2014, they understand that this was a real threat.
When you talk about you understand some of where he's coming from, I mean, it seems like such a mad fantasy, a form of insanity almost, to think that you could try to resurrect the old Soviet Union. Is that literally what's driving the process here?
I think that's exactly what he's trying to do. He believes that Russia and other countries surrounding Russia are part of it. Ukraine is a sovereign country. It's independent. It's a democracy. It strives for Western ideals and values, and it wants to be independent. It wants to become part of NATO. And the fact that he just believes that, it's part of Russia is absolutely pathetic and outrageous.
The President Biden announced a new round of sanctions today. Much of it is aimed at the Russian economy. Do you support those measures? What do you think the effect of those will be?
I think that President Biden should have implemented sanctions way before. I think right now it's too late. So I'm not sure. There's a lot of talk. Of course, we have to do whatever we can. Do everything in our power to sanction. We have to ban, Russian oil and gas, and other countries surrounding it have to do the same. But I'm not the president of the United States. I'm not in the Pentagon. I think that leadership, we need to have stronger leadership. Right now, the leadership at the helm, I believe, is very weak. And the world is watching. The world was watching what we did with Afghanistan, the disastrous pullout we had in Afghanistan. Putin is watching. China is watching. And I think we're looking really bad on the world stage right now.
What would a stronger approach look like? The president did talk about moving U.S. and NATO troops closer to Eastern Europe. I'm not sure what else you might have in mind.
Well, like I said, I think it's up to the leadership at the helm to figure it out. But I think a preemptive approach rather than a reactive approach, which is what we're doing now, would have been a lot better. I think that would President Biden been a lot stronger of a president, Putin would not have went ahead and created this attack to begin with.
And you and your constituents, as far as the reaction to this, are people able to reach family members over there right now?
Look, I think it depends where the people are located. I know there are talks about cyber attacks. I know many companies here have been getting alerts about cyber attacks. People are really anxious about their money in their banks, how to reach their relatives. Some people can reach their relatives, some people cannot. I actually, earlier this morning, spoke to a classmate of mine from the Ukraine. So they're still okay. I think it depends where you are in the region, but there's real anxiety about internet connectivity, about the loss of life, really. So it's very, very sad, frustrating, and really scary.
Yeah. And then as far as what New York City government can do, is there anything that New York can do beyond expressions of outrage, expressions of solidarity?
So Councilmember Carolina Rivera has a large population of Ukrainian citizens living in her district. In my district, there are many Ukrainians. We've actually talked this morning about putting something together in terms of mental health services because so many people are anxious. We are putting forward a resolution in the city council to support Ukraine, but I think the onus is really on the leadership at the top to do what they can. We have many American citizens who are still in the Ukraine, and there's no real plan to get them out of there. So that's something that our leadership really has to figure out.
Right. When you were running for office, was this an issue in the council race in your district?
Not at all. People were much more concerned with the borders of the United States, with homelessness, with crime. We have a lot of problems here, and this was not an issue at all that came up.
Right. I imagine it's going to be front and center for, you know, a large number of your constituents. I wonder how you balance that with getting the work done of being a councilwoman.
I've been working 24/7. Look, you know, a large amount of work that I do is constituent services. So we primarily focus on that. And in terms of this crisis, my office is, and I announced this on the floor earlier today, my office is ready and willing to assist my constituents in any way that we can. They've been coming to me for many other issues, and I'm ready to work with Congresswoman Maliatakis, with other members of Congress and City Council to do whatever we can to help our constituents.
Okay, we're going to leave it there for now. We'll wish you the best of luck as your end of this global crisis comes, I guess, into sharp relief. Thanks very much for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.